good morning. So I'm going to shorten my speech because you have a much more interesting series of things to do than to listen to me this morning. It's a pleasure to open ideas. This is really one of our most creative venues at this university. And it's wonderful to see not only our distinguished alumni back, but so many students and faculty engaged in creativity and the type of creativity I think that will help move this country and this region forward. So I often think I wish I had 2 Maroon Sam'an faculties of engineering and architecture and maybe 1 less of some of the other faculties. Oh. This is, thank you. This is a faculty that has, what? Yeah, I'm gonna need you. So this is really a faculty that brings people and ideas together and is not afraid to discuss those ideas to their full extent. It bridges discipline. And really, I want to say, since Alan Shahadi became dean, first interim dean in 2016, then full-time dean a year later, is not just unafraid to tackle the big challenges, but tackles them enthusiastically. So thank you, Alan, and thank you to the faculty and the staff and the students. Look, this is an era where if you want to tackle big ideas, big challenges, guess what? You're in luck. We have lots of challenges. But pushing the boundaries and horizons of those challenges is actually inspiring and it's wonderful. I, from a different perspective, felt very fortunate in my career that there were huge problems that we needed to tackle, HIV, cancer, and we didn't solve those problems, but the opportunity to contribute to something larger than oneself is really what makes you bounce out of bed every day, no matter how tired you are. And to the students, this is really a blessing to be able to engage in this. Everything from chemical and alternative energies to mechanical engineering to industrial, civil and environmental, CCE, ECE, you have, artificial intelligence, you have incredible opportunities. And you have a wonderful faculty here that really doesn't think of 9 to 5. My first year here, I went through the different faculties in office hours. And I think I told this to my friend Ayman. And often I found that office hours at AUB were characterized by the students being there, but sometimes the advisors not being there. That didn't happen here. I didn't have to leave a single card in this faculty, which I think speaks volumes. And it's only gotten better. Now, talking about tackling huge problems, this year that challenge, those series of challenges feel monumental. Everything is under challenge, including the value of a liberal arts higher education in America and the West. So we're coming together after a time that's tested all of us, our people and our institutions. Lebanon has endured crisis after crisis. I think maybe we should advertise that, Mr. Dean, Mr. Provost, on our applications. You want to come to a country where you've got a challenge a minute, come to Lebanon. We've just endured a devastating war. And yet, here we are. Even though the war's not over, we're not just present, but we're focused. Not simply showing up, but stepping forward with ideas marked by clarity, courage, and intent. Ideas 2025 distills that spirit. The projects you see today are not just impressive in scope, they're grounded in purpose. We talk about being excellent for the greater good at this university. This faculty, its students, staff, and we have incredible staff here, and faculty are happy to tackle that approach. These ideas come from a mindset that sees technology not as an end in itself, but as a way to connect with others. It reveals the community as one that refuses to surrender and is anti-fragile and is encouraged, and they do their best work. You do your best work under some of the most dire challenges. For faculty and students who continue to imagine, to question, to design, to staff who find solutions in the most obdurate and resource unintense environments, even when everything around them seems less than hopeful. This is, for me, what has set the Maroun Saman Faculty of Engineering and Architecture apart for my decade here. The ability to work with precision while maintaining space for empathy. I love the idea of humanitarian engineering, which I think courses through the entire year. Yes, Ahmad, we teach this course over the winter, but I feel the entire year, all 12 months, are lessons in humanitarian engineering to produce thoughtful solutions that stay rooted in the real experiences of people in this country, in this region, in this time. And you may disagree with me, but I do think this is a period where we can have genuine hope that this country can develop towards a participatory democracy with all the risks and challenges and opportunities that description holds. At its best, the education and the progress that students and others, the experience that they undertake at AUB shouldn't only transform your mind, but it should change your lives and the lives of others. At AUB, we believe that learning moves people to act, to serve, and to build. You see it in every student who's designed a solution to meet a real-world need, in every team that has tested a new system to serve communities more effectively, in every research effort focused on relevance and impact. These are not merely academic exercises. They're acts of engagement in the realities we face and the futures we hope to create. Now, yesterday, engineering won the football game. And we call it the big game for a reason. In the 10 years I've been here, the Maroun Saman Faculty of Engineering and Architecture has won 6 times, United Faculties won twice, and twice COVID-19 won. So you're well ahead. And yesterday in the game, I read a quote, which I think describes this faculty. And this, yes, people are correct. I do love football, but I grew up playing baseball before football. And the great Mickey Mantle, who probably only Alan Shadi and I and maybe 3 or 4 other people, Jordan, remember, you're too young to remember him. You remember ideas about him because he was retiring. And on the last few movements in those battered knees, he once said, a team is where a boy, and I would argue a girl, can prove his courage on his own. A gang is where a coward goes to hide. This is where we build teams to push back those cowards and those gangs in this faculty and in this university. And we saw that on the field from both teams yesterday. So what do teams do? Teams, as you're seeing, come together in ideas and exemplified by our distinguished alumni and student winners. Teams build societies, they build opportunities, they build hope. And ideas, in the final analysis, is about hope. The questions that we explore here, they can be technical, but ultimately with this faculty, more often than not, they're also ethical. How do we engineer systems that are resilient and inclusive? How do we innovate for communities that have long felt underserved and are too often feeling left behind? We know that the core of the problem in the United States, what's leading to this huge division, the core of our many problems in Lebanon and the region are about the fact that many people have been left behind. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, and certainly since the 1980s, more and more people are left behind. Wealth disparities are getting worse. Opportunities for people to participate in the full expansion of technology are less. More people have much more wealth than they'll be able to use in 1,000 lifetimes. And many, many, many more people than that will never have the opportunity to live a dignified life. I don't want to make it all dark. In fact, in the last 5 decades, we've made incredible progress in reducing starvation, in reducing extreme poverty. But just when we were on the cusp of solving some big problems, like ending, I started by talking about HIV, ending HIV by 2030, we're having a reset in that. So how do we innovate for these communities And how do we share that knowledge in a way that is not seen by one side or the other as partisan, but as being something that serves all? There are no easy answers. But what's clear is this: the students and the faculty of the Maroun Samaan Faculty of Engineering and Architecture and of AUB more broadly are not sitting on the sidelines contemplating our navels and conjecturing about what looks good and what's going to get 1,000 citations, 10,000 citations. Don't get me wrong, those citations are good, but they are a means to an end. What is the end? The end are ideas. The end is ideas, and the end are ideas, both that can change society for the better. President George W. Bush, probably not the most popular president, particularly in this era, and yes, he had some doozies, including the war on Iraq. In his greatest speech before he became president, he was invited to the National Association of Colored People, the NAACP. And he talked there about his idea of no child left behind. And the most powerful idea he propagated was the idea of the soft bigotry of low expectations. That's when you say, a kid from this background, from this village, well, you know, we've got to grade them more carefully on the curve because this is their ceiling. No. We can't set ceilings on anyone. Some people need more help and preparation, and that's why we have our foundations program. But we should refuse to put the ceiling on any person, any group, any idea. So today, as you debate these ideas, think very carefully about the potential for that idea. Not just for it to fail, because we learn the most, as we've said many times, through failure, but because if we inadvertently set a ceiling on that idea, that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I want to leave you thinking about that idea of the soft bigotry of low expectations. That is the opposite of what we practice at AUB. We have the highest expectations for our students, our faculty, our staff. We don't only expect you to live more abundant, more meaningful lives, we expect you to ensure that others are along, and they're not along for the ride, but they too will contribute to a more fair, just, and equal and inclusive society. Thank you and have a wonderful day.